Morning. How are you this fine day?
Just fine, it's foggy.
There you go, bud.
Didn't get lost though.
There you go.
Good morning.
Good morning. No, you're good. I'm gonna come to this side first. Oh.
I gotta start calling.
So my little guys have COVID.
That's not good. Just got the right scores.
You need more paper.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, sir.
I'm trying to do this.
Don't thank me now.
This will be the later. You take things down.
I got 4.
Bless you.
Got the your household there.
Yeah. I figure I'll come up at night or early in the morning or whatever.
I know Lisa texted about it, but she's not gonna say, do I put that on January, or December 31st or January? So,
After they do the date today, then it should be.
Right.
I'm gonna take a long trip over today and tomorrow.
she didn't okay.
Yeah, she's got a appointment to make with my assistant. And then she has another schedule.
What happened over there for something?
I don't know. I have no idea. Matt called us yesterday and said they're posting some stuff online, so.
Which I know has been a bad time.
Mm-hmm. Super bad.
Morning.
All right, at 9 o'clock, we'll meeting to pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Probably moved and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Payroll change notices here from Attorney's Office. And this is one is taking place, the other is in the budget.
Yes.
Okay.
You're fine. No. I just want your sweater.
We have here a notice from the IRS. They set their mileage for 2026 at 72.5, raised it 2.5 cents, and I believe it's been our practice to go with the IRS mileage. Is that correct? Okay. So I'd entertain a motion to raise the mileage rate for 2026 to 72.5 cents.
So moved.
Been properly moved and seconded to raise the mileage rate to 72.5 cents, the IRS standard. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. We'll bring up to the fact that we need a consumer, Jackson County consumer, on the Northeast Kansas Multi-Health Board. Susan Foster had resigned, and we need to find somebody else to take her place. So if you know of anybody, or let's put that on the website, on the commissioners, and any place else that we can get it, so we can find somebody to take applications and make a decision on that. And you said you did notify all the boards of the appointments already for the coming for this year?
Oh,
Or
yes.
okay, perfect.
Were both these applications for sheriff's department?
No, attorneys. I saw Bethany down at the bottom, so.
And this one's a new hire?
He's an intern.
He's an intern. Okay, that's what was checked, so I wasn't sure. It says hourly. So 40 hours a week, intern?
I do not know.
Okay.
I have to clarify that.
Okay.
I want to say they were doing 20 hours a week.
Yeah, it just, okay, so up here they've got temporary part-time, so is that
20.
no benefits? Okay.
So they're an intern, they probably lost you, right?
Yes. He's
I would
not
assume.
I would assume so.
Okay, so, yeah.
Scott.
Morning.
Bluetooth connected.
I don't know what it is.
Some propositions.
Bluetooth disconnected. Bluetooth connected.
Stop
It's
there.
trying to connect with somebody here in the room. What would you like to?
Bluetooth disconnected. Bluetooth connected. Bluetooth disconnected. Bluetooth connected. Bluetooth disconnected.
All right, score up. What you got, guys?
Contract Kcamp was due every year for spraying roadsides. Need that sign.
We need a motion to do this.
Just ask the chairman on there.
Go, sir.
Would we email me a copy of that, please?
We get a sign. Okay, we got, finally got a copy of our risk assessment from Kcamp. We got a few things in there, road and bridge needs to do. We noticed in there that a lot of the county has done a heat deal on all the electrical panels. So by Riley's got the Bryson, or Bryson got him. And I guess he's gonna do most all these here in the county. One thing we did notice is there was nothing on the recycling or the landfill.
And that's because he only had a few buildings that he wasn't gonna do every building.
Okay. Now, he also had a road and bridge down here about putting bollards out in front of the entries of the doors. Do we want to go ahead and do the other buildings that we know don't have these things in front of them?
You mean outside of
Yeah.
the garage doors, the pillars?
Yeah, because if so, you've got 4 doors down here recycling in Noxious Weed, that would have to put in there, but you've got concrete with these roads, you're not just dirt.
Yeah.
So, again,
Yeah,
I'm not
4
sure how we
Can
want
you just anchor them into the concrete?
that. We could,
Yeah, just flat plate and anchor.
we could.
So I have the least.
Didn't know if you want to just go ahead and jump on top of things instead of come back later and do those buildings and then here we are again.
No, I think it's a
Yeah,
good
I
idea.
think let's be proactive on that, I believe.
What's that?
Let's be proactive on that and go ahead and get that done as far as I'm concerned.
Now go ahead and have fire and check those electrical panels.
Is that the infrared on that?
Yes.
And I'd be interested in seeing that report because I've seen some of these reports before on those infrareds where I know it was cool the day that you did them, but I've seen some of the reports from some of these folks that do this, that the ambient temperature is 100 degrees and it's 82 degrees in the panel and it's, oh my God, we've got a potential fire hazard here, and that's not the case. So I'd be interested in seeing that report if you could get a copy.
You want that before fire does anything then?
I think
Let's go
it's
ahead.
in
Yeah, I'd like to see it. I mean, I'd like to see the report, so.
this one here. We got it last week.
The infrared report, is that in there?
It should be. He's
Okay.
every panel, every building that we went to, if there was a panel, he shot and made notes
Okay.
of it.
Made notes of it or sent pictures of it because it shows the ambient temperature and the temperature of what he's looking at.
Yeah, it should be in
Okay.
here.
All right, perfect.
So what's the reason for having Byron come out?
Just to see, because this guy here saying.
They're showing some hot spots.
Hot spots.
Okay.
And he's to check why
Okay.
they're hot. And also on some of these here, he's got on here, no lightning protection identified.
No what?
Lightning surge protection.
So, again, is that a Byron question we need to?
I'd like to know what they want for lightning protection.
What did we purchase a couple of years ago?
Oh, that was from Rowdy.
Yeah. Is that lightning protection?
That was the
That's
EMP.
EMP. That's for magnetic pulse. I believe, now I'm not an electrician, but I believe inside the panel, if you have sensitive stuff, you can put surge protection within the panel. I think it snaps in just like a breaker, but again, I'm not an expert.
That's replacing the breakers, so yeah.
So we'll dig more into that. Been talking to Joe a little bit about the road groomer, and so he's wanting to look at it, so we got it out last week, ran a little bit, and we'll just let you kind of give your opinion.
Yeah, we ran it down 222 and 162. Oh yeah, 166.
Yeah.
And it pulls up the gravel like it's supposed to, but there has to be gravel there. You can travel faster with that than the motor grader. So you get more miles out of the day with it. The concerns with our workers is that it would take a crown out of the road. We didn't see that. So far, we're going to run it today and tomorrow too. And then we run into bad weather. So but we're going to run it the next 2 days to get a better estimate of it. But so far, the results have been good.
How do they feel like that it's taking the crown out?
They just feel that when it's ran over, it's flattening it out.
It comes back to operator. I mean, the motor grader can take crown out, the skid steer can take crown out, it's the operator.
Because if you're,
When they got the bat, yeah, it pulls everything to the middle.
right,
And how it got the bat wrapped is a former employee here, put it out there so everybody jumped on board that it takes crown out of the road. True, if you run it down the center of the road, it will take crown out.
sure.
So you don't run it down the center.
Because it's designed to pull the rock out of the ditch and bring it back into the road.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the potholes and ripples were virtually gone on the road. So out here at 222, we went from town, we're out to the highway. It was 3.5 miles, and we had that done in about an hour and a half.
So do you have the blade operator in that area running it, or do you have somebody else?
We had a blade operator running this.
Yeah.
We took a blade along with us just to scare by big potholes out first.
Sure.
And if he picked up any bigger rocks, he could go scoop them off, which 222 we did, and there was one like 3-inch rock out the whole thing, 3.5 miles.
Okay.
So you thought, Joe, that, I mean, it has its place.
Yeah, I think it will. We want to see. Today after this, we go revisit those roads to make sure nothing it didn't seep up a bunch of water. Because when we break the ground, the moisture does come up. But we didn't see that, and it was we're obviously not going to pick a day right after it rains and do it too. But,
Right.
we haven't seen that yet, and I've been impressed with it. Yes.
Okay.
So is this something they used to use but not anymore?
That's what we bought about 2 years ago,
Right.
I believe.
And like I said, certain individuals got out there and gave it a bad rap. They have never ran it, never ran in their areas, so everybody jumped on board, but it's bad. I didn't think it. But you can buy one of those, time is like $25,000, and do the same work as a grader did, which is $400,000. So even what we're doing right now is saving hours on the motor grader.
And saving rock out of the ditch.
And rock out the ditch, and also, what we talked to that's doing it right now is if you can run in and run this groomer twice in between where you're grading, then that's going to save a lot of hours on your machines too.
Now you are running this with the tractor, so I mean that just so everybody understands, it's not something that's self-propelled, it's full line tractor. So
Whole with tractors.
Yep.
But again, you can buy a tractor and a groomer for the price of one motor grader.
right.
Earlier in the year, we talked about the trash from Banner Creek at the lake. Here's the final, end of the year of how many yards or tons that they hauled out there and everything.
So it's right about what we figured it'd be.
My question, I guess, is do we have money added to the landfill to cover that? Okay, good thing. We had a tree down yesterday at 98 between B and B4, right on the bridge. Went down got that up and got it off there with the sheriff's department, so I appreciate the gentleman, sheriff's department that helped me pick it up and get it off there, so.
Okay.
I hope that all right. Got an email from the BIA again, he said he's found 4 more bridges that's in question. I'm gonna send him a list of what I show as the BIA or the tribal or Jackson County owned. And these 4 that he says he found, they're all on Jackson County's list. So I don't know why he's saying that they're questioned, because they're all on ours.
Is that in addition to the ones that you already sent?
Yes.
I think all of them, so you're
Yes.
saying there's, well, like,
4 more.
4 more. Okay.
So I'm gonna email him back with a copy of that list,
Okay.
with those on there.
Okay.
They are doing a lot of work that we've already done, you know, going back and look at the stuff.
Wait, sorry, what was it? Who's doing work?
The BIA, they're saying that they're going around and looking at these bridges to determine if it's a bridge, because it's under 20 foot, it's not a bridge.
Yeah.
You know, and
Okay.
locating them and
But they're,
all the V numbers that I've told them that are on some of these bridges, it's like they don't exist. You know, he's coming back and saying that it's a county bridge number 1, county bridge number 2, and so
okay. But they aren't doing like work, right?
No.
Fixing it.
Samara deal, we need to, are we gonna stick to that for this coming year, or?
What's your thoughts on it?
They have support, but not for what we are doing. Seems like, Jennifer and Mary both commented, we talked about this morning, it seems like there's a lot of things. Well, first off, the forms were never completed, you know, the other forms like we talked about, we have, those, nothing was ever done with those. Seems like now we go into certain things and we have no rights on changing or modifying the form that we do have. And this goes back, you know, 3 or 4 months ago when he stopped by here and I told him, I said, I cannot personally go in and change or save anything.
And he said he would get that fixed and taken care of and blah, blah, blah.
And same with getting all the roads loaded, which is like 1,200 roads that need to be loaded into the system. And they said they could download that off the Excel file, which Jeannie got to them, and nothing's ever been done with that. And I said they can't do it. Just need to know where we go. I talked to Joe a little bit, and I said, you know, now that he's on board, I would have some extra time, maybe I could dig into this some more, and I don't mind doing that. It's just, you know, I don't want to spend a lot of time if we decide not to do these forms. The GPS, you know, to me, they're basically 2 different things, whether we want to use GPS or not.
Well, the two companies have never talked, correct?
Jeannie and Matt have talked, but it seems like when we talk to Matt.
Well, I mean, the 2 companies have never talked like they were supposed to as far as cross communications between the 2
Correct.
in the system.
Correct.
Yeah.
And when you talk to Jeannie, we'll wait on it, and you talk to Matt and Samara, we'll wait on it. You know, so it's just back and forth. I really want to just get everybody in one room and I think it worked out.
When do we have to make a decision on that? When's the contract up?
I thought we signed it in March, February, March.
Sounds familiar, but I don't, yeah, that file, I love that file. So,
That's fine.
well, I mean, in this instance, we're talking about, you're saying all the tracking and video and stuff are okay, and they're installed all right, and doing okay. It's just you can't integrate that information with the STAR.
Which was, that was a point that I specifically made that has to happen. if
Yeah,
We're gonna go with that system.
Trying to nail down clear what we're lacking here is much.
March,
So, that, I mean, that's what's the problem, right?
Yes. And the forms that, you know, I know we created this, and they worked along with us to create this system, but, again, you can't get a hold of Matt. You email him a week later, 2 weeks later, he may email back, and he keeps saying, well, the assistance is out there, you know, for their service. But I just like to have a name.
Okay.
I'd like to go back and work with the engineer that started all this with us.
See, that's one of the problems, because Matt's a salesman.
Right.
And they will promise you the moon, and, you know, they can't deliver because they don't know the ins and outs of how things work. So, you know, I'm almost starting to think we got sold a bill of goods as far as the two systems integrating, because he promised, oh yeah, that'll work, we can get it done, no problem at all.
And the function you're missing is the fact that you need to have that data integrated in as far as the track that's going on in the system itself. Meaning you could probably keep a separate track system, and that's good, well and good, but it's not.
Well, it was sold to us as a time saver.
Yeah, and you know, I'm just trying to make sure I understand where
Yep.
they're failing or falling on the job.
Let's table the decision on whether we're gonna do that or not.
If you didn't use Samara, are you wanting to get rid of every aspect of it? And go, do you believe that there's a tracking?
There may be other things we could look at or do. The Samsara, just for the GPS, I believe is going to be, from what I've heard from the contracts, it's around $10,000 just for GPS, and then another 4 or 5 for the forms program. So if you stuck with the GPS, it runs about $10,000 a year. I have utilized it maybe 5 or 6 times through the year. Jennifer has utilized it a couple times, just to see where people have been, things like that. And sometimes I'll write on the tickets that doesn't quite match with the road, so she'll go in and look and say, okay, well, that must have been this road instead of this, because that's what they travel. So, again, is it worth $10,000 a year? My opinion is not.
So how would you track them? How would you track whether work's getting done, whether we're getting over roads, whether graders are stopped more than they're not? How are you going to do that?
Well, again, if you want to look at a different system or, other than that, there's really no way to track it unless you just set on top of it.
How many, okay, I've got a question. How many cat graders do we have versus John Deere?
So you probably got, this just to guess,
Yeah.
probably 8 cats, the rest of yours, that's 12.
Okay. The system that Tyler was showing us down at the conference, at the convention, that we could utilize. How does that compare to what we're utilizing right now?
I have to dig more into it, see what the cost is.
Can we get Tyler up here maybe next week to talk to us about it?
Try to.
And then call down to John Deere and find out what they utilize and how that would work?
I believe when we checked into it several years ago, it requires a cellular program for each one.
And that's what I want to find out, how that would work.
And I thought when we made a decision to utilize this type of service, it was for management's benefit to be able to go in and make sure that work's getting done. And how do we, I mean, if we're only looking at it a couple of times a year, how are we utilizing it? Only
People
reactive when somebody complains, or proactive in just spot checking some folks and say, looking to see, how long they were stopped, how long, those types of things.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just last week, we had a lady in here who was complaining that the blade operator was sitting on the side of the road for 30 minutes waiting on another load of gravel. when for the last 5 years, I've asked, why do we do that? Surely there's other work that can be done. Those graders run 30 plus down the road. They have radios, they have cell phones. So if we're not utilizing it to do that, why do we even have it? I mean, you follow where I'm going here? I mean,
I do, but you just want somebody to sell all day and
no, I don't want somebody to sit all day, but as a management group, how would you use that to make sure that work is getting done? I mean, spot
you
checks.
just have to go in and track it, you know,
Okay.
all the time. But it doesn't tell you, you see that a grader went down the road, but unless you go in and check that area, you don't really know whether he just drove down the road or whether he's, you know, until you check into it deeper. You know, what speed he's running at and what the actual blade is, right.
I'd like to have more conversation about this because if we're not going to utilize it as a management tool, I'm not sure it's worth the investment. It's good to use it for reactive. So when somebody calls and says, "Hey, I haven't seen a blade pass my house in X number of months," okay, we can go back and look, and we've utilized that.
But you can do that with smartphones right too, when their time cards are entered. They put down there what road they were on and what dates, and they played it from here to here. The thing is, it may take 2 to 3 weeks to get that information put into the smartphone. But they are working on also everybody getting their time cards turned in weekly now, at the end of the week, instead of whenever they want to, or every 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah, they gotta make that mandatory.
Yes.
Joe, as a superintendent out there, how would, and being new here, how would you like to see this move forward? What are your thoughts on what tools would help you manage this vast number of equipment and stuff?
Yeah, I think Samara, if it was working as intended, would be a great asset for that. It's not the end all be all, but it is a tool I think is useful for that. I would like to, if it sends a notification, I've tried to get access to it yet, but that's one of our gripes is that I've been here this whole time, they did it like the first week and I haven't heard anything.
And he doesn't have access to it yet.
But that's one of the assets I would like to use as far as are my guys that are supposed to be when
Right.
And I would like to use it for that. And if someone's sitting for 30 minutes, okay, note it. And if it's a recurring thing, then go out and see it firsthand. But I would like to use Samara as a tool or something like Samara.
And I agree.
There are other things out there.
I agree with Mark. I think we start with Caterpillar and John Deere. They already have that availability, and let's find out what a real number is to activate those.
I remember a few years ago, I thought it was Kcamp that came in and said that their equipment would not do what we were looking to do.
And it may
But
not.
it may be.
It may not, but that's what I want to find out from Tyler. Because it looked like what he was showing us down there at the convention, it looked pretty close to what Samara was, but I don't know if it gives us all the information that we're looking for. So that's kind of what I want to talk to salesmen and talk to them, because they're getting salesmen, but I want to talk to him because he was more hands-on and knew what he was talking about. It seemed like explaining it to us down there what it was doing, so.
I can get a hold of Tyler, but it'd probably be like Fred over Capital.
Yeah, Tyler knows about it, but he's going to send somebody who's going to tell you about it.
That's perfect. Yeah, and then like I say, get a hold of Murphy and see what they have, so we know what's going on there.
And the light trailer that we had, the tilt trailer out there that had damage to it, they've got the frame straightened out now. We're looking from Hoffman Brothers, waiting for some steel to come in to support that back up and meet up there. Kind of where we're at with that. Inventory is pretty much done out there in the warehouse. There's a couple of trucks that we're still going through and stuff, so we should wrap that up this week, I think. And Jennifer's working on the last quarter of the fuel tax bill, and then here's just having that. Those roads that got worked on 2 days last week. And you will note that they just provided them north and south equally.
And what about the excavator? We started on that yet?
I believe they got it pulled in and started on, because they had, what was it that went down last week?
They had to replace a couple of windshields.
Yeah, they had half the windows that were out of the, one was out of the mini excavator, and then they had the trailers, and they had the truck and tires.
Okay.
And were you able to get a hold of B&P about the tanks out here?
I left that to Bryson, so got to check with him this morning, so he did
And you're getting lists from individual operators of areas of concern for them, right? So they're saying, hey, here's some spots where I need gravel and do some work.
I think you got a spreadsheet put together on that. We talked about that this morning too, is once that's done, we need to go through, prioritize.
You said all the things.
I have nothing.
Yeah, I mean, so I went out and drove some roads yesterday within 8-9 miles of the house, and there are still a lot of potholes out there. And so, how are we approaching that? Are we?
I was talking to them this morning, when I went down to 98 to do that tree yesterday. Hit a lot of roads, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
98 is one of them.
Right.
198 down on that end of the east side is another one, but as I was driving down that road room would be perfect on these. They've got rock,
But you got to work the potholes out first.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
The big ones. The smaller ones, it would just go right through them. Take care of them. But if you got a bigger pothole, yes, you do need one. Yes, Jason, I think we need to put his bids back on and run back down there in his area. He's got a lot of areas where that helps.
All right.
All right. Sounds good. How's moving?
That's good.
Good. Good.
My wife enjoyed it.
All right, guys. Thank you very much.
I like to stick around and
Yeah.
in here. It's fixed.
I think so. We'll see.
Thank you. Sure. Sarah,
Oh, good. How are you?
Scott, Keith Roberts.
Yeah, I kind of.
We've talked, yeah.
Yes, it's nice to see you. Thanks
You
for
too.
having me. This is Clint.
Clint,
He works
good to meet
with
you.
me.
Okay. Yeah. Joe Gardner, is our road superintendent,
You
been here
have to move
about a
in
month.
the cold weather.
No.
Oh,
All yours.
okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
morning.
How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
You bet.
My name's Lauren, and I'm with Kcamp. Thanks for having me. Just have a couple of things to visit about with regards to utility claims. Scott had asked me to visit briefly about just some utility claims that have been called in. I had emailed you earlier this morning. I don't know if you had a chance to check that. I'm going to bring this up for myself. I'm kind of praying that it wasn't my computer furiously trying to.
No, I've got
to
it
the
there.
Bluetooth. Okay. I don't think so, because I turned it off. So what I sent you was, that's the form that a liability adjuster like myself or Clint, that this is Clint Prohaska. He's also an adjuster for Kcamp.
Morning.
This is a form that I would typically send anyone, either from Jackson County or anyone else from one of our member counties, out after they report an incident to us, that I would ask them to fill out in the event of any kind of utility claim. And the one thing that I would ask is that if there is any type of utility incident, that it get reported in a timely manner. And what we noticed and what Scott noticed and what Tara noticed is that we were having these incidents happen and they just weren't getting reported. For one reason or another, they weren't getting reported in a timely manner. And what happens is if they're not reported quickly, the utility in question, whether it's Evergy or Kansas Gas or Brightspeed or these third-party utility owners, they can refer the claim or the damage, they can refer them to a third-party claims outfit. The big one that I typically hear of is an outfit called J&R Adjustments. What that means to an adjuster like me is an outfit like that, a third-party claims handler, they can be very difficult to work with. They are kind of notorious in my business for not wanting to negotiate on claims. There's very little adjusting that happens. There's no wiggle room, so to speak. They're pretty firm in their amounts, and it kind of takes my legs out from underneath me in terms of being able to negotiate on amounts. And I don't love that as an adjuster because it takes away my ability to save you, the county, money. And that's the part of my job that I like. The hunt, so to speak, to make the claim less costly. So that's why it's the most important part of the process to report those claims as soon as possible. So that's why I also included in that email a copy of your 2026 liability MOC. And I would just refer you to page 12. And that is, and I think this is a page in the MOC, and I understand that your MOC is, a document that might put you to sleep because it's your insurance policy. Who reads your insurance policy? Nobody. It's boring. But I happen to think Kcamp's insurance policy it's designed to be very, very liberal. It's got a lot of gray area built in. We do not give a form 30-day, you must report within 30 days or we're going to deny your claim. Much like your personal auto or home policy most likely does give. We say you must report a loss as soon as practicable. Now, that sentence is designed to, it's loaded with gray area. Why is that? Well, it's designed for somebody like me, a human being, not a computer, to give you the option to say, yes, I want to honor that claim, or no, I don't want to honor that claim. Such as the case with this round of utility claims that was reported to me recently from Jackson County. It was designed for me to say, you know what, I had a newer county clerk in Christine to say that they weren't quite sure what was happening here. I want to honor all of these. I want to give them the opportunity to let's rectify this. Let's honor all of these losses and let's fix this. I don't want to deny any of these claims. It's designed to give us that buffer. But the purpose really in coming here is to remind us of that sentence so we can report these losses in a timely manner, because in the future, I will be looking at that critically. It may be something that I look at in the future to say, truly this wasn't reported timely, and we may need to look at denying these in the future if they are not reported in a timely manner. So if there is damage, i.e. if we knock into an overhead line, we do need to report those losses timely. Question?
What kind of a timeline are we looking at that we reported in?
Some of the losses that were reported, I would consider not in a timely manner, would be in the over 6-month margin.
Okay. And how did we report these? Did we report them straight to Kcamp, or did we contact the utility?
We contact utility. We never did report to Kcamp because we didn't know we had to.
Okay.
Or needed to. And
You're fine.
we
It's
didn't,
good to see.
we didn't, get, this information from the, companies, until a year later. They send us in and said, hey, there was damage here, which we document some things. We don't always take pictures, but again, we call the utility company, they come out, fix it, and then usually you don't hear nothing more. So in these cases here, they've come back and said, hey, there was damages, we want restitution.
So the second phone call might
Yeah,
be
that's,
Kcamp.
as we talked about, yes.
Well, and they're sneaky about it too, because a traditional billing cycle can sometimes take upwards of 30 to 60 days. And so oftentimes, you're busy, you're working, it can be somewhat out of sight, out of mind, until, you're working, you're going about your day, and then all of a sudden you have a $13,000 bill sitting on your desk, and you think, oh my goodness, what is this? But that's why it's so important. If someone knocks into something, say a pole or a utility box, it's just got to get reported. That's all.
Both to the utility and to you.
Correct.
Okay.
Right? Because ultimately, who's the party that's going to be responsible for cutting that check?
Right.
This kid.
Yeah. So I think that once we were made aware of that we did need to do this, to
Yes,
follow
sir.
the procedure, I think that's what we started doing, correct?
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So that was the biggest thing right there, that apparently we just didn't know that we were supposed to do that. We thought we were just dealing with the utility company, and that was it. So.
Right, and I was explaining this to Clint. Clint's been with us since the summer, and honestly, unless you're aware of this as a claim, it's just not something that pops into your radar. And
Right.
without sounding crass, these third-party adjusting outfits like J&R, I'm sorry, they're vultures. They're just not anybody that you want to work directly with. I would much rather work directly with a utility carrier and be able to pick up a phone and call and speak to a person. That is a much more pleasant experience. You want to call somebody, and it's the difference of being able to call and speak to somebody within a due date period, as opposed to calling and speaking to somebody well after a due date. At that point, the situation has gotten much uglier.
Right.
And that's how I would describe it. And the negotiation period has far expired at that point. And it's just an ugly situation to be in. And at that point, it's my problem to deal with.
Okay. Okay.
And so in those situations where maybe the utility calls us and says, hey, we believe you've damaged our utility with a blade or a backhoe or whatever.
Yeah.
Is there some investigation on your part?
Yes.
Are you relying on Road and Bridge to do that investigation, or a combination?
We do it.
Okay.
A combination of both. And
Okay.
the great thing about notifying us early is we can have that negotiation, we can have that investigation. The bad thing about waiting until it gets to that kind of ugly third-party adjusting place is, even if there was an either or of maybe this happened, maybe it didn't, it kind of matters very little at that point, because whether it did or didn't, we kind of owe it at that point. And the lapse in time kind of makes us look even more guilty.
So once we get that information, so if utility calls, the cable company calls and says, your blade drug out a quarter mile of it, then you have to document it through an email saying, this was the first reporting date.
Right?
They believe it happened 3 weeks ago. And then you work from there
Right.
forward, right?
Yes, and,
Yeah.
oh, so sorry, go ahead.
Say we do tear something up, and you said you guys would investigate. Do we, I know we go ahead and get the repair done.
Yeah.
But do we go ahead and cover things back up, or do we leave it? Say you guys can't get out for a week or two.
I would say, do what you need to do, obviously, to mitigate your damages, but snap a photo beforehand so we have some evidence of what it looked like beforehand. But obviously, do what you need to do to make things safe. But yeah, as long as we have a photo, and never underestimate the power of beginning a paper trail, because you've always got that date stamp and the time stamp to protect yourself.
Mhm. Okay. So, like I said, I think our procedure has changed to include you first thing, second phone call to get things rolling there. The ones that you're referring to, I believe, was on the bridge out here. And from what my take on it was, everything was marked, but it was marked incorrectly or off, and we dug where we were supposed to be digging. Does that kind of summarize that?
On that case, yeah. The one for, I don't know if you can tell by the pictures, but there's big concrete above it there.
I remember this.
We were tearing that out, and the chunk of concrete broke loose, lost control, and it fell onto the one cable, and that's how that got damaged.
Oh, I mean,
We didn't
it
dig it up.
happens.
I mean, the chunk of concrete, big as a car, fell on it.
Yeah. I mean, if it didn't happen, we wouldn't have a mechanism in place for things like this to happen. And obviously, you're in good company because it happens all the time
Oh, yeah.
for the other counties. So, I mean, definitely not a conversation I haven't had with like the 80 other counties.
Right.
I just want to follow up on something, Scott. You guys don't fix their lines, do you?
No.
No,
Okay. Yeah.
that's on them
Yeah, well, you said we fix it. I'm going.
No, I'm saying,
with a check.
after they
I think he's talking to Scott.
after they repaired, say we cut a phone line or something like that, after they come in and do the repair, let's say the line's still laying out on the ground,
Yeah.
we go ahead and cover things back up and
Oh.
wait for them to come out.
That would be like
That was my
putting
question.
a separate insurance policy on their work product. And
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to understand a little bit, because this did kind of come up with the, first came on the radar with that claims company. I understand completely that they aren't easy to deal with, but
it's just tough.
yeah, but I'm trying to figure out how, and I think what Scott, maybe you were doing was, that would be notified to the utility company. The utility company would say, well, that was our fault. Right, because there's one on there that was just basically a line in the road itself. And you had graded,
2 or 3 inches deep.
yeah, and then pulled it up. And that's their fault. And I'm trying to figure out, I mean, I think what you're saying is it doesn't matter whose fault it is, we gotta know when it happens. And we can't rely upon the utility company anymore to kind of be proactive and be a partner in this and say, well, that, we had it too close, or we had it too shallow. And I get that. So that's a good thing. And I guess the question being is, in these circumstances, do you guys come in on the back end and say, okay, well, you brought this up. This one's obviously where the road grade was dug out because it's 2 inches deep. That's your problem. Close your pot. We're not paying. How does that work? Is that what you guys would do? I mean, it's just obvious that the line isn't in the right.
Yeah, because I was kind of picking up on that too, because we have a policy that they have to bury so deep.
Oh, if I feel that it's not buried deep enough,
Correct.
I would just deny that claim.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's been times where the photos have made that patently obvious. I've just denied that claim, and I've fought several liability claims like that.
Do you have that information from our county? What depth and
Yes.
those types of things?
Yeah, and,
Okay.
and I would say not all counties carry the same depth information as far as depth requirements, but I would say most are pretty similar.
Okay. So then that comes back to a question for you then, Scott, when you say, well, just cover it back up. Well, if it's supposed to be, X amount of inches deep, then we're out of it. They're gonna have to come back in and bury it however deep they need it, correct?
Or
I mean, that's-
you're gonna run the same problem down the road.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have lines in the roadway running.
Right.
with it inside the roadway.
It should be in the back slope.
Yeah, or it should be in an area where we designated.
I think in the past, yes,
We, in the past, they used to put on back slope, fore slope, and what we went to here in the past few years is going down the edge of the road, not the back slope.
so that we can clean the ditches, but they've gotta get it to the correct depth.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the key right there.
Right.
So,
This is where I think our membership just being really great people of integrity really helps. Because if our membership, this is not just Jackson County, but all of our counties, genuinely makes a mistake, they're very quick to pick up the phone and call me and say, hey Lauren, we made a mistake. As opposed to, and they're also very quick to tell me, Lauren, I saw this bill from a utility carrier. This is bogus. This is ridiculous. And we know this is ridiculous, and here are the photos to show you why we think this is ridiculous. And if somebody tells me that from one of my members, I'll fight for them. Because they have the photos to show me why. And here's the yardstick to show me why it's ridiculous. And that's usually all it takes.
and I guess I'm satisfied on the road part as far as that. One of the questions I did have for you too was, when we're in litigation,
Sure.
okay?
Switching gears.
Yes, switching gears.
That's a big switch.
When we're in litigation, how prompt are you to settle rather than fight? And does that come down to your bailiwick, or is that somebody else?
Well,
Maybe it's a decision to go into litigation, right? Meaning
Yes.
You have a,
okay.
you have a 50, let's say that you have a 50-50.
Okay, first I would say, for me personally, the cases that I take, we do try to mediate everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's company policies, we do try to mediate everything. We have not gotten to this yet, don't repeat this. You're not mediating.
What happens is being safe with
You're not mediating anything yet, no, sorry, he's trained. You're not allowed to mediate without me. When you've been doing this for a long time, you can mediate. So we mediate everything. And I would say I'll go like 3 rounds and then bracket. And if I'm not, and then once I've given it a good hearty effort, then I will probably settle. Now when you're saying fight, do you mean like suit? Because Kcamp has probably taken like 2 things to suit in the last 10 years.
Well, and there's an answer where,
Realistically.
Well, you say no to the, whoever they are.
Yeah.
And there's, it's enough money that they're gonna go to the mat.
Yeah, I think, if I'm understanding Mr. Pruett correctly, you get to a point where you go, okay, we're willing to settle for this amount. If they say no, are you willing to say no? We'll see in court.
Yeah. I mean, it's been done. He recently retired, but I'm assuming you met Reed McGregor when we had him. I shared a wall with the man. Like, that's who trained me. Like, I won't use colorful language in here, but like, adjusters by nature are kind of bulls in china shops, and yes, we're willing to say no if need be. And there's certain situations that I'm just not willing to entertain or fight with, and there's certain cases that are not worth my time fighting over, frankly. And that being said, there will always be individuals for whom the county is at fault for everything. And I'm not necessarily willing to argue and fight with those people. I find it to be ridiculous.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. So that pretty much answered my question.
Sorry.
No, I'm satisfied with that answer.
Right. That answer may be tainted with the fact that I have to argue with a lot of third parties that tend to come after a lot of my member counties, and I find myself personally invested in that because I represent 81
Sure.
counties, and I love my member counties.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
Did we get worked out on that $1,000 deal that we sent in?
Tara was gonna have some questions for after the
risk
Oh.
avoidance grant. Wow, it's January, you've already spent your money. Which department gets it? Is there like a cage fight for that? Which
This,
department gets it?
this is off one of those utility claims.
Okay.
We had some questions on that.
Okay.
So Tara was going
Okay.
to visit with you.
Okay. I should tell Patrick, like, if there's a fight over that. We love that. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming in, we really appreciate the answer.
That was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for sticking around, Scott.
Good.
All right, Todd, what you got?
Let's see, I guess as far as just status things, tax sales been confirmed by the judge. In the sheriff's deed to the sheriff. So assuming he signs all those shortly, they would be provided to the buyers. The procedure then is that I've got kind of a draft motion to Lisa and Amy about distributing the funds to the county for the tax liens. So that would then transfer that amount to treasurer, and I think we close out everything but two you guys ended up buying. So, we're going to talk through what may happen with those. We've got 6 months in the line, so pretty much we're not talking about sweeping up the last few bits and then ready to close that case. So.
Now, does the county file those deeds?
No, I've directed that the sheriff provide the deeds to the individuals and they can file them.
Because we did have a time, sometimes the individual wouldn't file, and so.
Well, I mean, I get the argument, and the only thing is you got to pay to file the thing.
Well, so we didn't
$22.
charge that fee when
Yeah,
the sale?
I
Okay.
could figure a way to,
Okay.
I suppose I could put it in the order and see if somebody screams, but my thought was is that, every other situation, the buyer pays for that part of it usually.
Right.
And
I thought maybe it was charged at the time of the sale.
And I don't really
It's
know.
been done, it was done before, but it doesn't matter.
At a certain point, they're gonna have to
Right.
take, I'm assuming if they've gone the length of paying for it, then
You
they're
think
gonna-
they file it? Yes, I got it.
Yeah, so, and we'll probably have to pony up with the fun stuff, I guess, I don't know whether pressure uses can forgive the county, filing fee, they will. No, we'll be able to file ours for years. So, but that's, so kind of all over but the shouting on
Let me
that.
back up. They have in the past, but we have the new register of deeds, so I don't know.
But be real nice this time. We'll see what happens. The other thing is regulations I printed out. I really didn't need all the signposts on those, but depending on time frame here and what you've got going on, you have a longer discussion about how those kind of play out as far as the tribe road situation is concerned. And I can kind of explain why I did it this way. I don't know that that's executive, if you guys are comfortable with that, but
Nothing sensitive in there.
no, it's just regs you can find in your own search. So I just didn't want to interrupt. I didn't know what got after me that I wanted to.
Kate.
Yeah,
Amy and Kate?
yeah, I don't know if we want to start on this point and then have to switch to them or what. It might take longer than 7 minutes. I don't mind sticking around. I'm guessing you've got something pertinent to me too.
I was just looking through here, and a lot of the stuff's referring back to 23 USC.
202.
Well, 202, 129.
Well, and maybe that's, I can give you the kind of overall view of it.
Yeah.
See, it has changed its name a couple times around, because you talked about DIA routes, and that was the pre-2004 nomenclature, okay? So they've changed the tribal, the TPP in like 2004 with a really big set of regs that I spent a lot of time looking over. And in 2016, they really tinkered with it pretty heavily, and now it's the Indian Reservation Roads program. Trying to keep straight all the names. Transportation Equity Act, the 21st century. So what really is the overarching theory is there's two sides to it. One side is that they're building new roads or improving roads, massively. Like a new road, you just got a gravel road and they want to make it a true divided highway or whatever. That would be into the one program where they're financing like the highway department. They would go in and say, okay, what are you going to do? Give us plans. Here's the whole big deal. Why it's $5 million, so here's $4.5 million or whatever. And do it. That's obviously very simple. There's that. The second program is maintenance because they were pretty clear in that first tranche there that they do not give funds in that for maintaining the roads, that they build. That's the separate maintenance program and funding. So
Now, wait a minute, okay. You're saying in a different program, they are giving funds to maintain, which are federal funds.
yeah, it's not like a different name to it. It's just that there's different regulations.
All under the BIA,
Yeah,
but one is one program and one is another program.
yeah. And
Just okay.
And that's the differentiation is that they'll just say, whenever you say, this regulation, you got to look at it and say, okay, is this under this part, part 400 of the regs, or is it under part 800? This 400 would be new program, 800 would be maintenance.
And do we have the ability to see the roads that they are maintaining, or do they fund all roads that lie within the bounds of the reservation?
They wouldn't say that. They wouldn't say they fund all roads. I think they would say it's programmatic. You start with, the tribe starts with, or whoever's kind of steering the ship in some respects, could be the EIA in some instances, they would say, we've got this available funding, you tell us your plan for building roads and maintaining. Tribe, we'll work together, you have this roads plan, kind of like a zoning planning or future use plan. And they say, this is what we want to do, changes, and then they set on it. And then the funding is then allocated if the funding is there. Right? So they say, okay, well, we've got funding for A and B, not C and D. And, or you can pick one of A, B, C, or D. And then they fund it. But they aren't committing to anything as far as ownership or control of the road. They're a giver of funds.
Right, but if the road and bridge sends from the tribe, sends in and says, I'm going to use just 85 miles of road that are gravel. This is our plan, we put gravel on each of these roads. They fund it.
Yeah,
And that's the point I'm trying to get at is what roads are being funded, and are we still maintaining 30-some or whatever Scott number, are we still maintaining those roads even though they may be getting funding for it?
well, I don't think, we can't know for sure, positively, that they ever receive money for things.
Why not?
Why?
Well, because the regulations, again, you take it as who's on the ground and who is interested in finding that particular question out. Because they recognize in some of the statements they say, we understand completely that we don't own, DIA says, we don't own the road.
Right.
We've got to deal with local governments as far as improvements to those are concerned. But that, but that's really, and they say, we understand completely that only about 17% of the road systems that are BIA, BIA notice, I don't want to say controlled, but BIA sanctioned, are maintained or exist in the state that is acceptable for use. They recognize the fact that essentially the road systems that even they have in their inventories are not maintained properly. And that if you, and whether or not that's tribe or not, or the county or whatever, they're just saying, we understand that that's not being done, but that's not what we are doing. We don't promise to fix every road that we designate. And we give money. So they're going to kind of wash their hands of it. I'm saying,
BIA,
yeah.
Okay.
They have reports that they expect from the tribe on an annual basis. They have certain things that they demand in the plans. And they would have a track where they said, we've allocated X amount for new projects and X amount for maintenance. And we can say that, and then it's probably either in the plans or with the tribe that say, okay, we got $500,000, so we spend it on X, Y, Z.
okay, hold that thought.
Okay.
So
Questions?
last week, when I was hearing by phone, there were bits pieces that were a little bit hard to hear, so I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. And then I do have a request. So we did get the final quote from Budget Blinds to do the blinds that were talked about specifically last week, the 2 courtrooms. And that's going to
In the
be
bathroom.
in bathroom, yes. $6,374.06. $6,374.06. And then we did get a quote from McClellan just this morning. I only glanced at it for the reporting equipment. It did come in lower than the quote from. They did not give us one yet for a completely new system. Whoever the other one was.
One for Manhattan.
McClellan, the first group, SciTech.
Sorry.
It did come in under SciTech's bid, and I know it was talked about last week, so I want to be clear. The blinds are coming out of my capital outlay. Is that right?
Yeah, I believe that's where they're coming out of, yes.
And then if we are, which that's where we left it, getting a new recording system, that's also coming out of my capital outlay?
And law library from the
Law library, yeah. The judge said there was
$43,000, I believe, in the law library that was going to be coming out.
Okay,
So it sounded like to me what the judge was saying, the equipment would be paid for out of the law library, not out of your budget.
The judge said the capital improvement fund has about $45,000 in it, and the library has about $43,000 in it.
okay, I'll
Roughly,
check on
just-
the law library, because I didn't write that number down.
Okay, that's what's in the minutes from last week, so.
Okay. So then my request would just be that when it comes time for you to consider what you do with the 2025 budget, as you know, we've been adding to that as much as possible. I've been forfeiting cash bonds as soon as I can. We've been forfeiting surety bonds, which we've actually been collecting on, and I didn't quote that number, but I mean, I would ballpark it that it's probably somewhere between 15 and 20,000 that we've been able to collect on that this year. And you've already previously agreed to put that into our capital outlay. I just want to ask that you would at least consider putting part of my leftover 2025 budget back into capital outlay, if possible. And
So how much is going to be left on your budget?
30, more than I thought. I think it's 32,000.
Okay.
I don't have one of those forms.
I mean, yeah, that's a consideration because we still need to do the work in the clerk's office and things like that, so.
Right, and I just don't want to get to a point where the recording equipment has a piece of equipment or something that goes out, and then I'm having to come to you and saying, I need $10,000, we can't do without this. So I am trying to, do whatever I can to at least get us some kind of reserve for those types of things. I don't want to get into a situation we're in now, with recording equipment and other equipment that is simply outdated, and we've just been band-aiding it and band-aiding and band-aiding, because as you know, court hasn't had any money. This is the first year in a while that I think we're ending up with anything left in our budget. And so I just don't want to get into a spot where something does happen and we just don't have anything in reserve to upkeep the equipment.
Right.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I would like to look at the final numbers when we have those available.
Sure.
And then, we can make a decision. But I want to encourage people to save money. But I would say that there will be a limit to that. I mean, which makes sense. And we've done that with our emergency management department. I mean, they had over 100,000 plus in an account, but yet to do what they needed to do, did we need to save more there? No, not really, because that would take care of whatever they needed to do. So I think finding that balance and having the conversation with the department head is where I'm at.
Yeah.
What makes sense to keep in reserve, what makes sense to go back into, but knowing that we have these projects down the road, I think we have to try to save for that, and I appreciate if you guys, sounds like you're doing a good job of trying to save that money and get some money back in there. So, did you reach out to the other company,
Revive.
Revive?
I responded to their email. I was going to call them when I get a moment. I've been on vacation-ish, turned into more work from home, but anyway, for 2 weeks, and so as you can imagine, I'm playing catch-up, and I've got some problems in some other counties I'm working on, but I'm hoping to be able to just at least call them today and touch base with them. Hey,
Because I believe SciTech was bought out by a nation, a company on, no, I'm not SciTech. Who runs your IT stuff?
networks, network computer solutions, and they
Were bought out.
merged.
Yeah, with a nationwide company on the East Coast. So, I would reach out to them and make sure they understand that, okay, at this point, what the judge is wanting is all new equipment moved to the location that we had talked about.
Right, and we had that conversation when they were here, and
We
so
did.
I'm a little bit surprised we didn't get 2 quotes.
What I remember of the conversation was that, yes, we would like to have an idea of what it's gonna cost, but the main priority was to get a number of what it's gonna cost to get it moved, to get the courtroom open back up. And so, when I left that meeting, that's all I thought we were gonna get at this point in time, because it seemed like the priority was to just get it moved, get the courtroom back open, but now listening to Judge.
Well, and I thought I had explained to them that we needed both because we weren't sure once we moved the equipment if it would even work. Because if you remember, he said, so you want a new equipment, but, because remember I said, well, we don't want anything fancy, we don't need like the digital wall volume, and he said something like a new system with old components, or not old components, but anyway, he said like a mix of new and old, is basically what he said. So I know we had that conversation, so I'm hoping they have all the information they need, and they can just throw it in a quote.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
So I would
Okay.
reach back out to him and
Okay,
have that conversation.
I wanted to be clear on where the money was coming from, and that Judge Merrick didn't get ahead of ourselves in.
Because I think, after listening to the judge the other day, there's no need to move old equipment. Let's just get a bid for all new equipment that is gonna do the job that we need to do. And I
Right.
think it's important to compare apples to apples.
Agree, 100%, and that's where it's gonna get a little bit rough, because neither him or I have the smarts about that type of thing to
Well,
figure out what it is this a comparable part to this part, are they, so.
Are you getting more than what you really need?
Yeah, I mean, if like I said, when I looked over, like, why do you need the digital volume control on the wall and this, that, the other thing?
Right.
Like, that's a little overkill for what we're looking for.
Right, especially in that courtroom. Maybe in the large courtroom, that might be more helpful, jury trials other things of that sort, but not in that small.
Right.
And then I think it becomes a conversation with each company. Okay, you have this component listed, how is that gonna benefit me and can I do without it and operate it without it?
Okay, that's good. I just wanted, like I said, to be clear on where that money was coming from, make sure we had that money.
I appreciate that.
All right,
Okay,
sounds good.
great. All right,
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, one of my questions. Under your definitions, BIA road system. Does that include the BIA routes that they're showing on their map?
Yeah, well, I'd say, I mean, it took just one definition out of the whole section.
Sure. Well, the reason I'm asking that is because it specifically says here in this definition,
Where you at?
on the first page,
Okay.
second paragraph, 25 CFR 170.5.
Yeah, and that suggested to me, yes, that if they have a BIA route or the road system that they're contemplating would be an acquisition right.
Well, that's what I want to make sure of is because as far as I'm concerned, we're not going to give up any legal right-of-ways to any roads on the reservation, correct?
Correct.
And
So I want to make sure that we haven't done that.
No, I think what they're saying is that, and I take it as, this is again the program where they're constructing roads, probably 9 times out of 10, not maintaining but constructing.
You're talking about constructing an entirely new road from.
Probably, yeah, for the most part.
Well, that's where I want to make sure that we're perfectly clear on because it specifically says here the BIA routes are that they have plans to obtain legal right, has or plans to obtain legal right.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that we have not given up legal right-of-way on any of the routes that they claim are BIA routes, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of the devil in the details here is because that's what they fully expect that there is an underlying ownership in even places they designate as, tribal roads or BIA routes or whatever that are still owned by the underlying authority, meaning the county or the state or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I think inherent in all this is that they have no problem saying, if we're gonna open a new road that's never been even laid out, we're gonna get title to it. But it doesn't mean anything about retroactively creating.
Right, so a good example would be 158, when that was a gravel road, that became a wider road and went almost 11 miles across the county, for sure over 11 miles. So do they believe that when they did that road and they built it into an asphalt road, that it became their right of way?
No, I think what this says is that they would go and start with, you tell us where this road is that we're gonna build and we're gonna go out and we're gonna get the title.
Okay.
And that would, they know how to do that because just about every state highway is usually, at 75, federally funded likely to the nth degree, and the state owns the lane. It's not a right of way, really, they own the ground. So
They purchase it.
yeah, and they could purchase right away, they could purchase the grant itself, but what thing to point out too is this is where I get like 25 CFR on the first page, 170.2 D1. About that is keep its tribe is responsible for managing the day-to-day operations of its contracted federal programs, functions, services, and activities. So that's just kind of what it says, that there's no, the BIA isn't the captain of the ship, the tribe is. Or should be the captain of the ship, according to this. They're just accountable to the federal government about how they use the money.
And since they are accountable to the federal government, how they use any funds the federal government supplies them with, why can't we have an audit and see what, or I don't want to use the word audit, but why can't we have a report from the federal government that shows how those funds are being used?
But they do have, that's another section in this. 3 pages in, so it'll probably be technically page 6, I should have had it. It's 25 CFR 170.240. This is what TTP project activity data must be submitted annually to the secretaries. And that just, you can read that, but it says, basically every year you have to give the following data: names of projects and activities, description of projects, current status of projects, jobs created, and they have an electronic portal to submit this data. So I haven't actually pulled a report on this, so I don't know how detailed.
Are those reports available online?
It may be the case, I haven't had a chance to check.
For a freedom of information request?
Yeah, and I almost hate to say FOIA request, because that just now becomes a 6-month affair, but hopefully it's online, we'll be obtaining it. But I think in this context, if we're, the starting discussion, I think, with the requests that we've had is to say, we need to sort this out from stem to stern. We're not here to just nod our heads and say thanks. It's time to sort this all out by, if you're adding things to your inventory, what are you doing to maintain? Is this going to be a project that they're going to maintain? We've maintained a lot of areas that probably should have been maintained by under these programs, but we're not. Mm-hmm. And we have to consider whether or not we're going to continue to do that. And I think it's a very real question about, like you said, if they understand that a lot of these facilities are not up to snuff, it's pretty easy to do a piece of paper and say, this is a federally recognized X, and we will give you money to do something, versus it actually getting done. Either the money coming to that entity, or that money being used in that, for that directive, right? So I think the missing picture here is probably nobody's ever kind of looked back and said, okay, and that's not probably your fault, because you got people complaining that's on the road saying, I've got just the same as anybody else, I've got more problems here, this is graded. So go out and work on it, and you work on it, and you don't even think about it, right? But if it is that, then maybe it's the time to sit here and say, here's yours, here's ours, and here's who they call.
And is that done with BIA, or is that done with Road and Bridge from out?
From Tribe?
Yeah.
I think it's with Tribe primarily. But you're bringing BIA into it to say, one, that if you're going to do this, expect this answer. I mean, if you're just going to say, well, we're putting these in inventory, we need to have inspections, we need to have this, then you need to get them the funding they need if they're not getting it. Work on these things.
But if they have been getting the funding, that's the kicker right there.
Yeah, I'm trying not to make any particular assumptions about what they received or what they haven't. So if it is the case they received funding for, certain roads and bridges and stuff, and you guys have been picking the freight, then that's things correct going forward.
Yes.
Obviously. And it would also be the case that if they're going to add things to it, we have to be clear from the front end who's going to take on the work. Because, you may have assumed it was yours before, but, none of this changes the ownership. Like I said. I think they're just saying, they have a funding system set up, they anticipate this thing. If they're going to put it in there, that means that that's part of it. And responsibility has to be accorded accordingly. And if absent anything else, is it's your policy decision to say, they put, two situations, old road, that's in that BAA and has been for years, and you guys have always faced it, you continue to do that. New facility that they're trying to rope in on this one, you maintain, or you can just let them take it over and you're going to put it off your books. There's an area where we no touch, and if you get a call, talk to these folks. And that's going to be your policy going forward. Right. And they'll stick to it. That doesn't answer what happened prior to this, what the result. But, that just says we're going to sort out from today onward, because we've got this opportunity, who takes on what.
Yeah, especially with $1 billion bridges.
Yeah. So that's just going over the highlights again. 17240 has, read that, the data that's, and I don't know that that's the only thing they have to do, that's just the red.
Filing.
I've included the appendixes that have a list of things that they cover and they do, so just so you can understand the difference. Starting on page 2 is Appendix A, the subpart B, which is a list of the new construction. The last couple of pages are the things they can do to maintain. Subpart appendix is subpart G, eligible maintenance activities under the tribal transportation program. So it seems pretty straightforward. And probably key is the second to the last page above that appendix subpart G is 25 CFR 17804. It asks who should be contacted if a tribal transportation facility is not being maintained to PBP standards due to insufficient funding. It says the tribe may notify BAA or Federal Highway Administration if the tribe believes that a facility on the inventory is not being adequately maintained to the standards identified in 803. If BAA or FWHA determines that the tribal transportation facility is not being maintained, it will notify the facility owner first. And then provide a draft copy of the report to the affected tribe, or report these findings to the appropriate office in the Federal Highway Administration. Which doesn't say anything about going out there, fixing it, correcting it themselves, or whatever. Basically, they tell which facility owner will be you guys, for the most part. So they notify you that it wasn't. Okay. Which kind of gives you a level of what they think their responsibility is in dealing with this, which is, again, they're a distributor of funds, not a manager of tribal activities.
Sure.
Yep.
If the funds are being distributed and they're not being used for what they're being distributed for,
Yeah.
that's where I'm at.
Yeah, that's the information we need.
Yeah.
And for all we know, it could be zero.
And it could be zero.
And they're funding, new roads or real heavy-duty improvements, but not day-to-day stuff. So, but I think that's that's one question. The other question is going forward, I think there has to be an understanding about who does what with this. I think you guys gotta figure out if you're gonna be tough and say, well, you claim it, you claim it, you fix it, you still own it. Don't change anything. You got to pay to fix it. If you got problems, then we're gonna directed to you guys.
There's just no way we can afford to fix all those bridges with the cost of it. We didn't put those bridges in. I mean, we didn't build concrete bridges. We didn't have any say, so we should not have to have a responsibility to replace them or fix them.
I mean, I don't know that it's particularly relevant to me who built it and when, necessarily, unless they're saying that it's ours versus theirs, right? It seems to me they're expanding what is theirs, and therefore, regardless, they can assume that they have to.
I think when a lot of those roads were still gravel roads, what's a bridge now may have just been a tube. And they chose to put in concrete, 2-lane, shouldered bridges. Should we be the ones to have to repair those?
No. Yeah, but I would say even if you guys built the bridge and they want to claim it for whatever reason,
To maintain it.
or to have it as under this program, that seems fine to me. It's
Right.
just, we need to know that, and we're not transferring ownership. So everybody knows where we're supposed to be digging and fixing and improving, and never the two lines will cross.
Yep.
So I think that's, I guess, if you guys, this is just kind of give you the 10,000 foot view. The next step probably for me would be to actually write the correspondence to both BIA and the tribe that says something to the effect of, this is our view of the regulations. We've gotten a request to put new things on there. This is the opportunity to clean up this whole thing and figure out who's got what. And say what the expectations are, and include a request to get that audit information, the yearly audit. Just direct, say. So move faster if you give it to us right away. I wouldn't send that, but you guys are looking over it, so just, that's where I'm at. That's okay.
Well, I'm just, like I said, I'm just kind of glancing through here, and on, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, page 6, the last thing on 49, purchasing, leasing, or renting of construction or maintenance equipment. All equipment purchase, submitted cost, blah, blah, blah. When purchasing construction or maintenance equipment, the tribe must. And you go down to 2, maintenance, the equipment costs are considered part of the funding identified in 23 U.S.C. 202 and must be identified on a federal highway in accordance with TTIP in accordance with 23, blah, 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 in order to be expended. So they're doing, if they're purchasing equipment for maintenance,
Yeah.
and they're not doing maintenance, then
Yeah.
where are we going with that?
Yeah, and that would be one of the things to check. Is that they do have the ability for the funding to be, used for purchase of equipment.
So I think one of the things that I would like to have is maybe the amount of funding in their reports that you talked about, those reports that are the end of the year reports, maybe for the last, if it's not too difficult to print them off, the last 10 to 15 years of those reports.
This has been the program since 2004, so 15 isn't unfair.
And to me, will give us at least a snapshot of what's been going on and what kind of dollars have been rolling that way.
If any,
And it's federal dollars, it's our right to see that.
Yeah,
It's just a question whether they're going to make some groups together or they're going to provide that. And I can take a look and see if it's online.
I mean, we're not asking them to create a document. We're asking them simply to print off a report that they're getting on an annual basis.
Yeah. And that may just lead to other questions, but that's fine.
are you?
Hi, Kate, how you doing? We already approved these, right?
You did, but that's just the thing that needs to be signed
Okay.
each time.
This is the planning commission and the board of zoning appeals that we approved. So. How are you this morning?
Good.
Good. All right, I got a couple questions. I've had people contact me about EagleView.
Okay.
What is the advantage of EagleView versus not having it for $29,000 a year?
You'll have to have an employee, that was kind
Yeah, I know.
well, just to give you some
Go ahead.
context, that was one of the main reasons when we purchased that back in 4 years ago.
2020.
Yeah, 2020, is in order to do this, we have to hire an employee, which is a whole lot more money.
And that's my point, because I
That's
got
your
contacted, that's my point, I got contacted because we could save $29,000 a year if we got rid of EagleView versus this that I had Mary print up, so if we hire another employee, it's $73,812 a year that we would have to hire another employee for, which would be a net loss of how much?
I can't tell you why we're hiring another employee.
No, I'm saying, I've gotten contacted and we need to get rid of EagleView because it'll save the county $29,000 a year. If we hire an employee to take the place of EagleView for $73,000 a year, what's the net loss to the county?
41,000.
Thank you. So we would lose $41,000 a year, or we wouldn't save $29,000. That's my point entirely, that it's EagleView is actually helping us with the costs. It's not a backwards way of going to it, but that's where I'm going to.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a cost savings, it's going to be a net loss to the county of $41,000.
That's why this was printed out?
That's what I asked Mary to do that for yes, I remember
Okay,
said
a little definition or explanation up front would have been helpful.
that's why I said
I thought you were-
later on.
Huh?
That's why I told you earlier, I'll explain this later on. No, this is not about hiring a new employee. Unless we get rid of EagleView, then we need a new employee, which would be a net loss to the county of $41,000, not a savings. So, what is your thought on getting rid of EagleView? I just want to know that up front too.
Well, I'm not at all convinced that EagleView is necessarily the best option. I think there are other options out there that we're going to be looking into because that contract is up in 27.
Right.
There are other companies out there.
To do similar type.
Similar, the biggest advantage to EagleView really is the change finder and showing us those difference over the flyovers. That's the biggest. That's big. But there are other companies that do like a change finder type of service.
And that's where, I hope that you would start looking now and start getting.
Yeah, we already have stuff accumulated, but.
Yeah. So the biggest point that I was trying to make here is with all the folks out there saying, that have contacted me saying get rid of EagleView because it's going to save the county $29,000. It will not save the county $29,000. It will cost the county $41,000. So you got to look at the whole picture. You can't just
Plus the efficiency of it. I mean, not only is it saving an employee, but the man hours that people would have to do with the change finder to go back and look at these is astronomical. I mean, because at the end of the day, I would hope that all taxpayers would want to make sure that everybody's paying their fair share.
Yep.
So if people are out there building brand new houses and brand new buildings and not paying property tax on them, that's not sharing in the burden that we all have to maintain what we have.
right.
So.
Exactly right. So like I said, I just wanted to get your thoughts on EagleView, if you're looking still at that, if you're looking at something else, but it's not gonna, by getting rid of EagleView, it's not gonna save the county money, correct?
No, because we would have to probably have a full-time person just looking at the maps and
Yeah.
getting those in line, so.
And that's where the $41,000 loss for the county comes in. So,
What is their reasoning for getting rid of it? What is their real reason? If
they use
privacy,
privacy.
okay,
We can do things cheaper. We can fly a drone over. I don't understand that one, but
That caused a lot of conflict when it was a drone,
right,
right?
yeah.
So,
There's difference in
Yeah.
your Fourth Amendment question.
and I should use satellite, that'd be great.
And if we did get rid of EagleView, that would mean there would be a lot more times when we would go onto properties to have to look rather than seeing it just, okay, nothing's changed, right?
yeah.
So, which would be more of, to me, that would be more of a privacy issue that people are talking about rather than less.
The whole thing with EagleView and how that came up too was because of COVID, right?
Right.
We couldn't get on the properties, but we are mandated to actually
Again,
view each property.
and that's a key point. The state of Kansas mandates that we do this.
Yeah,
1/7,
once every 6 years
once every 6 years.
on a regular basis.
Right.
It can be more for like the sale of a property or building permits, things
Right.
like that. So,
Okay.
I mean, we can visit a property pretty regularly if there's a building permit or the house sells multiple times.
Alright. Okay, well, that, like I say, I just wanted to bring that to light, that it's not going to be a cost saving if we get rid of EagleView, because we will either have to hire another full-time employee, or we'll have to look for something else to avoid hiring another full-time employee. So, anybody else got anything?
At some point, I'd like to have a conversation about moving the zoning, and you and I have had a conversation about hiring somebody to take care of zoning, and I'd like to have that conversation with Kate.
Sure.
At some point, I think the sooner we start having that conversation, the better off we'll be. And I'd like, again, you and I had this conversation in your office, but I think they would benefit from hearing your thoughts on it.
Yeah.
That's up
Sure,
there.
no,
that's
that's
up
great,
there.
let's get the conversation rolling.
The demand in zoning has increased significantly, which the burden on me and on Jamie has increased, to where I'm backlogged on the appraisal side of things. It would be beneficial, and I see the benefit to having zoning and the appraiser's office a combined office, because there are so many overlaps. But I do think having someone designated as a planner would be beneficial to the county. That way their focus can be on building permits and zoning compliance and all of those things. Freeing some time up for me to do appraisal analysis and all the things that I need to
How many employees do you currently have in your office?
do. We have 4 and then me, so 5 of us. When I started, we were a 6-person office. And then there was one that was still kind of wrapping up the zoning office at the time, because that merge had happened in 2011, I think.
You have six total, or 5, right now?
We have 5.
Five.
5 of us.
Okay. Okay.
There used to be, the zoning office had 2 people in it. And then there were 6 in the appraiser's office. I think the one, was not there maybe a year before I started. And then the zoning administrator, with that merge, I think it was wrapping up the end of 2012.
So if we hired someone to handle that, moved them completely out of the office, and we've looked into that, where we would move them to, would you be able to then alleviate or get rid of an employee? You wouldn't need all 5.
To do the appraisal side?
Yeah, to just do the appraisal side.
Okay, so if you do a zoning office, then there would probably need to be 2 people in that office. If
Okay.
you just completely separated them again, and you would need 4.
Okay, so we could take an employee from your office then and move them into that new zoning office with an administrator. That's what I'm trying to get at. You wouldn't need 5 people to do if we eliminated that. I'm asking.
There would be 4, and then me.
Okay,
If personal,
include yourself as a.
Yeah.
Oh,
5 of us,
okay. That's what you have now.
right?
And what I'm saying is if we take zoning completely out of that office, you can't do it with total of 4.
What I was suggesting too was having a planner in that office that can strictly focus on that and utilizing all of us because we are a team and we can do building permits if somebody's out of the office or whatever.
That's kind of where I thought he was going with that, is keep the zoning, keep the planning in, and zoning in that office. In the
Because there's a
appraisal
lot of
office.
overlap. And I get the efficiency of having them merged, but there would need to be a person to focus on that, like that is their primary focus. And then
Where would
having,
you put them?
Huh?
Where would you put them?
well, we have another desk,
2, 3, 4,
5 up front,
5. That
And
takes
then-
care of all 5 of them. And then you have the other office.
Yeah.
Would you put them in there?
no, they would be out with the rest of us.
You're talking just about one person being added to the existing.
Right.
So like you'd be over top of it. It's not like we would turn zoning over to somebody else.
They would be a planner. Yeah,
There's 2, so we're talking about 2 different things. An administrator of zoning and planning, and you're
Zoning
saying
administrator.
just a planner.
I mean, if you're thinking of separating them, then that office should probably have 2. Because there
That's
always have to be
what I
somebody.
was thinking, is we would completely separate the 2, so that you're, I mean, I guess that's what I got from our conversation, is that if they need information from your office, they can come up to it, but
Which
otherwise,
is how it worked
yeah.
before, yeah.
But yeah, I was thinking we moved them downstairs in this office down here by at the end of the stairs, but just to get them completely out of that office and open up their own area to handle that. But
Yep.
maybe there's a reason why we shouldn't. I mean,
No, I think it's just the logistics and how many people we would actually have to make that happen and work efficiently.
what things would a zoning and planning administrator, an employee need from your office that they can't retrieve from computer? I mean, are there documents up there that they need? I mean, they can have all that down there, right?
Yeah.
And what are the, so, again, I want to talk about what are the advantages and disadvantages, but what are the
I mean-
disadvantages?
Let's do some deep diving into that and really come up with the pros and cons of it. Off the top of my head, I can say that there would need to be serious collaboration, which in any of the offices that's important. Like I said, there are some overlaps, so let's look at that before,
Why don't you come up with a list of pros and cons of, keeping them in the office up there or moving them out.
I'm curious what you guys, what do you think? How do you see this? What would be your thoughts on it?
I can see the advantage to keeping them in the office, to have everybody work together in that office. Because that's, to me, it would be more efficient keeping them up there. Because, as Kate said, if they're out of the office, if we hire a planning and they're out of the office, you guys can be building permits and everything else right now, whereas otherwise hanging a sign on the door out. To me, it would be more efficient for the county to have them in that office. Otherwise, we're gonna have to hire another person for it, so we'd have 2 people down there. Thoughts, Linda?
I don't know, sometimes I think it'd be good to be separated out, because there's a lot to zoning stuff anymore. And, your office has to focus on the appraisal part, and if you had just a zoning office and that's what their mind was on, and that's what they had to deal with, sometimes, I don't know, I think that'd be better, but I do know how it overlaps, this is true.
And I think there could be like a phasing in of that too, and I don't know how that would work. Something to think about too.
Yeah. One of my concerns, if that individual is in your office, that overlap work. Hey, you're not real busy right now. Can you do this? Instead of giving that person the freedom to develop, look at our zoning regs and start developing some things that would simplify them, make them more efficient, change some things. Give that person the opportunity to do that. My concern would be, I'm not real busy, I am kind of working on this, but I can help you with that right now. That would be my concern.
So, in that regard, I would say have 2 separate offices and have administrative assistant or something to that person, because in order to have the time to focus on, hey, how do we make this more efficient, how do we change these zoning regs, that person's going to have time, and they're not going to have it if it's just that person.
Today, if I asked you today, how many people have come in your office asking about zoning questions? I'm not trying to put you on the spot, I'm just trying
I
to.
think 2 so far today,
Okay,
and then we get stuff in the mail that has to be processed.
okay. Stuff like revitalization information.
Now, revitalization would be the appraisal side of it, right? So, not the zoning. But the building permits coming in, processing the building permits.
The revitalization, because would only,
That's on the appraisal side.
really. So the zoning officer would tell them about the program. and
See,
have them sign it up.
there's a part of the overlap.
Yeah, and have them sign it up,
Yeah.
but when that information comes in, it goes to you so that you can put it in so that it knows how it affects their property tax.
Yeah, towards the end of it, like after they've been in and all that, so.
But the only overlap would be that information coming back in.
Yeah, and building permits, there's a lot of information from the building permit that overlaps in the neighborhood revitalization. So we kind of try and take care of that all at the same time, so people wouldn't have to go from office to office to do that.
Give me an example.
So what's required for neighborhood revitalization with the bids and all of that would be required for the building permit. Site plans, all of that would be required for both.
And
So-
the zoning person can't ask those questions?
Well, sure, but they're 2 separate forms. So then you're saying that the zoning administrator would have to take on neighborhood revitalization and do all
Seems
that.
like that's just a part of
I
it.
was gonna say, they
Well,
could.
If John Smith walks in off the street and walks into your office, says, I want to build, or I want to remodel, a house. They're getting a building permit, anything associated, any information you would give with that building permit, now the zoning officer would take care of that, or the zoning planner would take care of that, instead of your office having to take care of that. If the numbers coming back, meaning what somebody spent on revitalizing a house, now that, oh, I see their numbers came back, I need to give that to Kate so that she can input those, that's her portion. Because that doesn't,
Yeah, I mean, as long as they're the ones responsible for the deadlines and all of that, the paperwork, I mean, it's the neighborhood revitalization typically is falling on the appraisal side, the appraiser side. It doesn't have anything in there about the zoning administrator other than they have to be in compliance with zoning, right? That's the only thing in the resolution about zoning. So, I mean, all of those are
separation of
details,
duties could
right?
be details that we could work out. But, yeah,
Yeah, like I say, if you put together a list of pros and cons for separating or not separating, and we'll start from there. I think that'd probably be the best place to start with.
And you have a time frame in mind? Not this month, right?
in
I was figuring tomorrow, but we meet again Friday, so
I think the sooner than
sooner
later.
later.
I know you're busy. It's kind of one of those catch-22s. The sooner we get it, the sooner we can make a decision and move forward with it. But I know you're busy,
So
I do
you're
want
going
to
to
give you
discuss
time to
this
think
around
about it.
budget time,
for sure.
and want to have something kind of in mind before budget?
Yes.
Okay,
For sure.
yeah, because this month is not good.
Why don't you just, well, you need to sit down and think about it, and it's in the back of your head, but
Yeah,
why don't we figure on shooting for, like, first week of February, something like that, to come down and talk to us about it?
yeah.
Does that work?
Yeah, speaking of February, the floodplain, the new floodplain maps, we have to do a public meeting, and Division of Water Resources will be coming in on February 10th, 2 to 6:30 for that public meeting.
That's the one that she emailed us about, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So there are 30-some properties that have buildings that will be affected with the new firm map. So I have letters, form letter that I can send out to those landowners, and they have a suggested social media posting to Facebook on that meeting as well. I don't know if we need to publish something in the paper for that, if,
That's always tied, I always thought that was tied in some way with actually redoing the resolution for the floodplain itself. We're not changing anything about the regs, they're just changing the map.
the only thing about the regulations is the resolution number is in the regulations on the floodplain overlay.
But this meeting from DWR is about their
The changes.
changes, so, I mean, unless they say publication is necessary, I don't see why that would be so.
No, she just said, she gave me a form letter to send out to people that it would be effective.
Yeah, and I think that's it, so.
So we can put something on the website about this public meeting and Facebook and,
Mail that out to whoever. That'll be their chance, I guess.
and they'll be setting up at noon on the 10th. February 10th. So,
Here. That's the hall.
yep. Did you say the meeting time?
2:30 to 6.
2 to 6:30.
2 to 6.
And they're gonna give some sort of explanation, they're gonna have a
We'll
talk,
have the maps and stuff up and people there to,
can come in and ask questions.
Alright.
I don't have a new query run on all of the violation permits permit violations. Have you talked about how you want me to proceed with that? People that haven't got their building permits?
I believe we talked about starting fine running, didn't we?
I don't think that there's any, as I understand, this was just a matter of grace that you guys did that in the first place. Up to the
Yeah.
end of the year, so I don't think you have to kind of notify anybody, but my guess is now that you hourly enforcement
Just send
goes,
it out.
yeah, you send out the fine in full or whatever penalty in full.
So a letter stating this is their fine.
Yeah, well, or I think, doesn't it continue until they actually submit the permit? Is that?
What is the fine process? Is it a one-time for not doing it, or does it accumulate?
Well, it would be at one time when they come in to actually do their
So
permit.
state that number in.
And
That was what you were asking.
Well, I mean,
That's
I think
gonna
there's the non-compliance with, the continuing non-compliance, if they don't answer at all, right? You say, you need a permit. They don't do anything. You penalize them, but that can't be the end of it because they haven't submitted the permit. If you
Right.
take the penalty and that, they submit the permit and then you decide the penalty and now it's X, and it's all done, but if they don't do it, if they don't submit anything, I guess that's my question, is go continually.
It's gotta be an accumulative penalty. I mean, like you say, if you just send them a letter saying, okay, here's your penalty, they say, we don't care.
Or they pay it. Is it now, get out of jail free card for, you want the permit, you don't necessarily have the money. So, I think that may tie in a little bit to what we're talking about, redrafting some of the portions of it about this process, right? Because we really have, we need to be clear going forward that, that the permit is required for these reasons, and probably that will be addressed in the process.
Well, it is publicly stated and publicly noted every time you come into the county on any of the major highways, Jackson County is own building permit required.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any debating that part of it. I just think that they are, using certain technicalities to kind of say, technicality applies, nobody's decided that occurs, but they just use it as an excuse, so.
Yeah.
We probably ought to make it clear that that's not an excuse. And, probably is the case, and it was always the case, it just makes it clear. And in that, we can take a look at the penalties. But I would say, right now, if somebody has applied, or it's not yet applied, taking that safe harbor, whatever it was, from now on, they still gotta submit the permit, and if they don't, they get penalized. If they do, then they're paying that penalty. If they don't, then it's probably increasing, so to speak.
Yep.
That's usually how those zoning penalties are incurred, is on a daily basis, right? If you are in compliance, every day you're not in compliance, it's a separate offense. Usually. So, did Representative Walcott submit his? He did. Wilcott?
He got a building permit in.
See if my powers of persuasion are still.
All right.
I don't know if he sent that to you as well.
I don't think he did. Under protest.
Which it's nothing, being under protest.
Let's read it.
Did he fill out a building permit? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I don't want to take your copy.
Do what?
I don't want to take your copy.
Board members,
Yes.
that sheet,
Mhm.
get that signed, I need a copy of it.
Yeah, there you go.
Sorry.
accumulating a stack of eventually.
Am I right to take it that my mission is to get a draft of revised regs for the process?
Yep.
And I can make Kate advise them to recommend. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
All right, Keith, thank you for coming down. Was there anything else you need?
No, I just need that back as soon as you guys are done reading it, if you want to read it, I'll take a copy of it.
You got that? Yep, perfect.
So, yeah, what did you gather from reading that?
Well, I just scanned it. It's basically trying to, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I would assume that if at some point he wanted to channel validity, he's not stopped. I mean, that's probably the argument is that you have to get some stops to put that in there. So, it's fine. Yeah, so he can file whatever he wants to file. He's not giving it up.
Sounds like something he would like. I bet AI did it.
Doesn't he an attorney?
Oh,
No? Okay.
No, he owned the beer brewery over here on the corner, and now he's a state representative.
Yeah. Need to go visit Lisa for a bit, if you don't mind. You gotta be around for a little while longer. So anyway. Stuff.
You and my mom, yeah.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yep.
Anything else for us?
Nope.
Okay.
Thank
Quick
you.
question, just thinking, if that job was outside of your office, in another office, and it was one individual, would you have an individual who on sick days, vacation days, could fill into that office? Just
How would that-
think about that. I
How
mean,
would that work? I mean,
I don't know, I'm just saying, I mean,
like bouncing somebody around,
it wouldn't be that often. I mean, it's kind of, I don't know, I just asked the question if you thought it would work, that if this individual, they're sick today and there's nobody to man the office, you have somebody that has enough knowledge about it to run down and just run that office, but it would all depend on whether we broke it into two different budgeted,
I think it might be more complicated to just have one individual in a single office down by themselves.
Okay.
And with that type, but
okay.
Would you not have an administrative assistant for that person?
Well, I don't know, I'm just thinking, if you didn't have an administrative assistant, I mean, could one person handle, I guess is my question, can one person be down there with the volume of people who come in on a daily basis handle that job? But in a situation where, they're sick or they're on vacation, could somebody bounce from your office down there? I'm trying to be efficient with the employees that we have, but, maybe not.
right, since they would have already been familiar, somebody who
Correct.
would already be familiar, it's a computer down there, you can still get on your appraisal stuff and work, do your own job.
then who's paying them? Out of which office?
Right.
I mean, that's where it becomes complicated.
It could, yeah. think about it. Don't need an answer today, I just wanted to pose a question before you left. Just think about it.
Alright. Thank you.
Thanks, Kate, appreciate it.
My turn.
You're not on the agenda.
You're on the
I'm
agenda.
not on the agenda. Okay, I'll just sit over here.
I want to hear.
What do you got?
Storage unit. Has gone up.
Oh, the one down here. Do we have much in there?
All right, so the storage unit that we have down there, the old central school, the current rate is $4,500 a year, $375 a month. The 2026 rate will be going up to $450 a month, or $5,400 a year.
Oh my. That's almost around our apartment.
He has,
Not around
property
here.
taxes that have gone up, so he's having to pass on his costs to the people that rent them.
And I'm sure utilities have gone up and everything else, so. Let's take a look at that.
He will be sending the new lease agreement, I just wanted to give you guys the heads up before doing anything.
$450 a month, and how big is that classroom?
About the size of this room here.
So 30 by 18, 20.
So does everybody in the courthouse have stuff down there?
I think everyone on second floor for sure does. Pat's got some stuff stored down there.
So I don't have a problem with continuing on for this year, but I think this should be a motivator that in 26, we really take a look at some of these offices downstairs and what we have stored and we've got to force the issue to get rid of some of this stuff. And especially if we're storing stuff for court, they're gonna have to pony up the budget because, out of their budget. And I don't know, I think we need to take a look at some of this stuff that's being stored, just like the judge, we got all that equipment down there.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
And I think that we had talked about that when we first rented that if the other offices were going to be storing things down there, then they were going to have to pony up part of the money for the rent out of there.
But have they?
I don't believe that, I think this first year that we talked about, we were just gonna cover it and see what ended up down there. And then now we need to go back and look at kind of the percentage of how much we've got and then who has things down there and even if $50 or whatever, $50 a piece, whatever
I
it
mean,
is.
do you know, is everything that's down in like permanent record stuff or it is?
All my stuff is.
Gotcha, that's what I was.
Could we take a chance and walk down here to these other two offices today and just kind of take a look and get an idea of what could go down there or what could be eliminated? Because did you eliminate, do you have records that can be trashed, burned, shredded?
Yeah, I rotate those out yearly.
Okay, but not anything that is taking up an enormous amount of room?
Everything down there is like what I have to keep permanently,
Okay.
like payroll records, warrant registers.
Now, I'd like to see what's in that office down there, because, very far in.
This is Lowry,
Yeah, just to see what's in there.
the old nurse's office. They're way
Well,
back
you're
in the
going
day.
way back.
Pat's old office. Yeah.
What office was the, county superintendent in? Was it
They go up there.
Yeah,
Is he in
They
here?
were in here.
that's what I thought.
This used to be 2 offices.
Okay.
I think we need to go back to that too.
I'm gonna take a break real quick and we'll go through these resolutions.
How many, honestly,
Are you around? If the commissioners wanted to go look through mine, just some no, one, tell them.
Customer service.
I just,
I just, because you come in from that, you don't know which person you're gonna get.
Right.
You don't know who those supervisors.
Yep.
And so when you
I wonder if just use it.
actually in the sunflower room right now.
Go ahead and walk some. Yeah, I want to see what's in there. You leave?
Yep,
Thanks.
you bet. See you guys
See
next
ya.
time. Get better.
Not mine.
We're walking down to the sunflower room, Kathleen. I'll be right back. We're walking down to the sunflower room. I can sit right next to the boys.
What used to be, how 144 used to be. I mean, you know, the whole jail area used to be storage.
Yes.
Oh, there's box after box of these and they're outdated. And
What's that?
mass, I bet box has 50 in it, there's gotta be 1,000 of them right there, sitting on the shelf. And Chris said they're all outdated, so they should be thrown away. We have two doors, more than 4 of them.
All right, we're ready to start our resolutions.
Sure.
Okay, resolution 2026-01, Jackson County, whereas Jackson County, Kansas has determined the financial statements and financial reports for the year ending December 31st, 2026 to be prepared in conformity with the requirement of KSA 75-1120A are not relevant to the requirements of cash basis and budget laws of the state, no longer should differ value to Jackson County or members of the general public of Jackson County. So this is to no revenue bonds, request director account report to waive requirement KSA 75-1120A. Then as they apply to Jackson County for the year ending December 31st, 2026. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been probably moved and seconded to approve resolution 2026-01. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign, motion carried. There's that one. Okay, resolution 2026-02 is to resolve that the following banking institutions within Jackson County, Kansas will serve as depositories for county funds, and the officer and official having custody of these funds as such: GN Bank Holton, Denison State Bank Holton, Farmer State Bank Holton.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve resolution 2026 approving the depositories, official depositories for Jackson County, Kansas. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign, motion carried. And I can read all these verbatim if you want me to, or I'll just skim through them.
Just tell me what it's for.
Okay, resolution number 2026-03 is a resolution establishing the Holton Recorder as the official county newspaper of Jackson County. I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve resolution 2026-03, Holton Recorder's the official newspaper of Jackson County, Kansas. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign, motion carried. All right, resolution number 2026-04 is a resolution by the commissioners sitting in regular session on this 5th day of January. Do hereby resolve to cancel the following warrants or checks by the authority of the Kansas statutes annotated 10-815. There are 46 checks that we are going to cancel. Any further I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve resolution 2026-04. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
What did this Duke Construction, Bill Wilson, what did he do? Anybody know?
No, I didn't.
Saw Bill in here.
He knows the lot that the county owns in Immenschuh.
So this is what he charged for the summer?
Yeah, for the season.
I see. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. And we're in the process of that. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
We're gonna try to get rid of that lot.
Okay.
Are we?
I have no idea.
I think that's the sheriff's.
I think that's the sheriff's.
office in Walker. That's
I think that's the sheriff's property, I believe.
Yeah.
Why are we paying?
Is the sheriff not paying it? I mean, is it not?
Yes.
The
Is
sheriff's
it coming out of the sheriff's budget?
Oh, in May. May, what, 215? But, okay,
215.
002.
It's sheriff.
Thank you.
Okay.
We answered my question.
Alrighty, so resolution number 2026-05 is a resolution of the Board of Jackson County Commissioners authorizing participation in the Rural Opportunity Zone Student Loan Repayment Program for the calendar year 2026.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve resolution number 2026-05. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. You want me to fill in the date down here? Okay. It's 5th day of January 2026. There you go.
Do you know any of these people? I knew one of them.
Yeah, a couple of them are county employees.
Oh, Lonnie, yeah.
Jamie in the appraiser's office has $60.
Okay, do we need a motion to approve the lease rate for the storage facility? I would say yes, or do you wanna wait until we get the actual
Well-
lease back?
Starting in January, I assume that they're gonna want me, when's the effective date?
It does not say an effective date, because he was gonna send the lease, is what Christie
I'd
said.
wait till we get the lease.
So let's wait till we get the lease. Would you approach the other departments and see if they have things stored down there? Or should we just say an amount that those departments are gonna have to come out of their budget for the storage fee?
I'd say they share it equally.
That's kind of what I would think. So clerk, appraiser, if they've got anything, treasurer, and register of deeds, that's the only ones I know that have anything down there. So,
Yeah.
and then the clerk of the court might have some things down there later on, so we can include her in there after the fact, after they get things down there, so.
I'm hoping they'll do a salt mine.
Yeah, exactly right. Okay, so we'll wait on this until we get the actual lease back, but you might approach the other offices about $50 a month per office for the lease. All right, is there any further business to come before us today? Oh, minutes, yeah, they've already been minutes for December 29th, 2025.
I move to approve.
I'll second.
Were there any corrections?
No.
I didn't see any. Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to approve the minutes of December 29th, 2025. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. And I would recommend, we got an email from Amy. Okay, we got an email from Amy sometime. And that was to commissioners, I believe. Right there, that the second judicial district nominating committee gave us all the names for that. I would recommend that we try to contact them and recommend they insert a layperson into that position. Otherwise, we're going to get stuck on the hook for anything with due to this, any appeals.
And this is for what?
For the second district nominating committee. Remember Judge was talking about that last week, that if it's a lawyer, that it will come back to us for any appeals out of that.
And they want somebody to go on that board with the other.
No. This is the board that's recommending for the second judicial nominating committee.
Mark Stanley should suggest it's a layperson.
Yes, that it's suggested it's a layperson, not a lawyer. Because if it's a lawyer, anytime it gets appealed, then the costs come back to us.
Right,
If
it
it's a
goes up.
layperson, it doesn't, it goes up.
And so we're signing that.
We're not signing anything. I'm recommending that we contact that's what the judge's recommendation was, that we contact and recommend that they put a layperson in there. So, we have two people from Jackson County that are on that, and that would be Bethany, and David Allen. So,
I'm fine, we can send
so
it.
I'm just recommending that we do that so that we can try to avert some costs that way. So,
Sounds like Judge, they've already got the mind made up.
So,
I don't know.
the interviews are Friday.
Yeah. Yep. So, all right. Anything else come before us today? Hearing nothing, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Oh, go ahead.
Did you guys have a chance to look over that video equipment?
I had a chance to look over the video equipment. Let me talk to a meeting tonight. I've got a board meeting tonight. I'm kind of curious what Action County has over there. So let me talk to them and see what they got and how they do it. And then we'll table that till next week. Okay? All right, so I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to adjourn this meeting. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye, all opposed, same sign. Motion carried, meeting adjourned.
Be here Friday at 10 o'clock.
Got board meeting tonight, got board meeting Thursday.
There's all those signed.
Thanks.
And the way that works is there's a device that goes into that wirelessly that will transmit to that
Yes.
and pick it up through here.
Yep.
Pretty inexpensive
Oh, yeah.
to do it that way.
Yeah.
And then,
Perfect.
Sounds like fun.
All right. I'll be here a while. I've got some shit to fill out for the Kcamp board, so.
Okay.
So, Terry, can you do a